Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, March 20th, 2020. I am Bhavanova with the details. The number of persons tested positive for COVID-19 virus here in SVG remains at 1, a female who had traveled to the United Kingdom. That confirmation was announced on March 11th, 2020, following notification from the Public Health Lab of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, of the positive result. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Environment said the female who tested positive immediately placed in isolation, which will end on March 24th. To date, the ministry said it has tested 23 persons and have further taken several infection control measures, including mandatory quarantine of the persons with a travel history to countries of interest or contact with a known COVID-19 case. 10 persons are said to be in quarantine. The ministry said it continues to work actively with the Public Health Lab at CARPHA, which is authorized to provide confirmatory tests for COVID-19 for its member states. Officials of the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Ministry of National Security are said to be working to continue to improve and strengthen systems to enhance surveillance at all ports of entry. In addition, the Ministry of Health said it will continue to disseminate up-to-date information on the virus and its impacts across the country through community engagement and multi-sector approach, which include the business sector and other institutions. In the meantime, the ministry is appealing to residents and visitors to remain vigilant and to continue to practice rigorous personal hygiene, social distancing, and overall infection prevention control. In light of the ongoing threat of COVID-19, public servants here can be granted up to 5 days sick leave without leaving home. This was pointed out by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves as he spoke on Star FM yesterday, discussing various issues related to COVID-19 and the response of the government. In recent times, the Ministry of Health has advised persons with flu-like symptoms not to visit the clinics and accident and emergency department at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, but to call a special hotline for assistance. PM phone call.
Cough and you have the fever, they have them conjoined. The doctor would say to you, listen, just let's be careful with it. The doctor can give you up to 5 days over the telephone. But when you get that as a civil servant or teacher, police, etc., you must call the person of the hierarchy to whom you report these things. And it would vary in different places. In a school, for instance, it would be the principal. And if it is the principal who has non-COVID-like symptoms, that person will call the deputy principal and certainly the Ministry of Education. And when you make the call as a public servant, you will say which doctor you consulted, which time and which day. And you do that promptly, so that it affords the people who manage personnel to call the doctor to say, did Ralph call and get a sick leave? The doctor say, yeah. So you notice that. That's the initial one.
PM Gonsalves said where a doctor determines that the symptoms are COVID-like, the doctor can advise that the person be held in isolation.
You do it. If you're going to do it for a second 5 days, then the doctor will have to come to you and give you the sick leave. But we want to make it initially very easy. Now, if it turns out that you have COVID-like symptoms, the doctor will say to you, well, if you have COVID-like symptoms, you should be quarantined, and it would be advisable at that stage for you to telephone your health clinic. If you are tested with these COVID-like symptoms and it's positive, naturally you would be isolated. Any of the time, whether the 5 days, the 14 days, or more than that time, if you have it and you're tested, that will not be counted as part of your usual leave. You would be given the sick leave for it. In other words, you'd be paid for that time.
PM Gonzalez said he is confident that public servants will not abuse the new provision.
But the report is very important there, and you would appreciate that we are putting a lot of confidence in the public servant not to abuse the system.
Yes.
And we don't believe that they would. And to the extent that anyone does so, well, that's part of what you bear in a situation like these. And that would apply for the current period until the government feels that there's no need anymore for that. And therefore we revert to the usual system of you going physically and get your sick leave certificate. We have recommended to the ministry.
The National Insurance Services said it is considering making 2-month payment to pensioners in advance as part of its response to the coronavirus pandemic. This is one of several initiatives being outlined in the release on the NIS response to the virus. The release said that the 2-month pension payment was mainly to protect pensioners from social interaction while collecting their checks. The release also indicated that the Social Security Agency intends to partner with the government on the construction of an isolation facility at Argyle, which will be used to make Vincentians infected with the virus. The NIS said it also intends to install hand wash stations outside of the headquarters in Kingstown and had hand sanitizers inside to promote best hygienic practices to decrease the spread of COVID-19. Additionally, the company said it intends to hire a nurse to be stationed at its headquarters to monitor, assess, and respond to employees, as well as customers in the event that someone displays symptoms related to COVID-19. And the Golden Years Activity Centers located at Cane Grove and Black Point will be temporarily closed as of March 24, 2020, as these centers are used for activities with the elderly, a group identified as the most at risk for COVID-19. With the cascade of events cancellations and increased guidelines restricting travel due to the fears of COVID-19, hotels around the world, including those right here at home, are facing a pinch of the economic fallout. Recently, our news team spoke with taxi operators who said they are feeling the economic pressures as many cruise ships cancel visits to many tourism destinations worldwide. President of the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association, Kim Halbish, said the operations at the hotels have slowed down tremendously and limited occupancy and cancellations are piling up.
So far it has been a tremendous hit on the hotel and in fact the whole tourism industry for worldwide, but St. Vincent and Grenadines especially. We have noticed significant cancellations and cancellation as far-reaching as August, September, and it's having a really negative effect on the industry. Not only is the hotel you losing room nights, they're also losing a lot of walk-in or pop-up travelers, so we don't have a true sense of the exact economic loss, but it's significant to say. But it spills off into like the taxi drivers. I spoke to a taxi driver. He said he had one fare for the week. The boat tours, the man selling vegetables who comes to give us vegetables. No, we don't need any. We have nobody in the hotel. So it's far-reaching. It's not just hotels. It'll trickle down to the average person eventually, you know. So we don't see how important tourism is sometimes, but we will feel how important it is now with this downturn.
Halbish highlighted some of the measures some of the hotels, including the Paradise Inn, have implemented to protect staff and visitors from COVID-19.
The thing about it, we've been asked to practice social distancing, and what we have been doing, some hotels have closed completely. Some bars and restaurants have decided also to close completely, but we have decided to put staff on a rotation because obviously you can't pay your staff if you're not making. Some others have sent staff on early vacation. So the hotels are dealing with it in a different way. What I have done is encourage people to come in small groups if they want to come. Like we normally would have someone who want to have a birthday party for 20, 30, 40 people. I'm saying let's try and limit it to 10 or 12. I've asked my staff to, when you seat people, make sure you seat them tables, a couple tables apart. Don't jam them up in one area because it's easier for you to serve. We're definitely doing all the hand sanitizing and the cleaning and the. So few people are still coming, but it's very few. If we have 1 or 2 persons, we're lucky at this point. So it's a difficult time for everyone, but we definitely have to support everyone, support each other in this time.
Experts in some quarters warn that even after the threat of COVID-19 passes, hard-hit industries such as tourism will take a while to recover. At the recent press conference, Prime Minister Dr. Raul Gonzalez said plans are underway to try to boost regional travel by reducing the departure tax. Halbridge said every bit of support will help.
Well, every little thing we can do will help. Right now we don't have anyone coming at all. So once the actual scare, I suppose, or the gravity of the situation subsides, then hopefully we can put all of these things, social marketing, ramp up our marketing, slash prices, that will help, hopefully. But we take one day at a time.
Meanwhile, the Minister of National Mobilization, Social Development and the Family, Frederick Stevenson, said Vincentians should avoid listening to negative talks about the coronavirus or COVID-19, which he said can lead to other complications when one starts panicking. Minister Stevenson made the comments as he addressed a handing over ceremony today of 2 containers of clothing and other items from the Embassy of the Republic of China on Taiwan. Stevenson said his ministry has been preparing to deal with the issues arising from the impact of COVID-19.
We must listen to the voice that is telling us what we ought to do. There are many other voices out there, and a lot of people are still in confusion, and a lot of persons are worried, a lot of persons are scared, some people are angry because they're not listening to the right voices.
The Gender Affairs Minister used the opportunity to further encourage persons to continue practice proper hygiene to keep the virus under control.
Ministry of Health officials are the persons who are responsible for disseminating that kind of information, and if further information comes, the Ministry of Health is the one who would give that information. And I want to say to our people, listen to the bulletins, do the necessary things, wash your hands, use a hand sanitizer, do not rub your faces, and if we listen and we are cautious and we do not panic, we can overcome this virus like we have overcome several other viruses that have gone before.
And our news team today caught up with 2 persons who believe the message of hand washing and the use of hand sanitizers are working well to fend off the virus.
To use your hand sanitizer, make sure that you keep yourself clean, make sure you keep your surroundings clean. Continue to do what you have been doing over the years. You use your bleach, you use Fabuloso, whatever detergent. You use these things and continue to practice good health habits, and that would go a long way.
Yes, I agree for that, and I applaud Jack to put the face basin and water alongside his building, and it's very intelligent and very good. I hope people don't mash it up. Well, I speak to the management of one of the same business. They should give the sanitizer, the cashier, gloves and sanitizer, and we're still doing it. And even by Mokin, Musa store, which they are doing it, and other places doing it, very good of them. Because you have to think about your workers and do things to keep away from this virus.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and Nevis, which are member states of the OECS and the African, Caribbean and Pacific States ACP grouping, recently affixed their signatures to ratify the revised Georgetown Agreement. With these signatures, the ACP is now said to be closer to realizing its goal of becoming the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific States, or ACPS. The signing of the agreement by several member states in the second week of March 2020 has enabled the ACP to reach the established quota of 1/3 of its members required for the agreement to go into force in 30 days. The revised Georgetown Agreement will see the ACP newly constituted as an international organization that will be called the Organization of the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group of States, focused and committed to multilateralism. The new international organization will span transcontinental boundaries and be empowered to address the issues that impact member states' development. The Ministry of National Mobilization today received 2 containers with clothing, fabrics, toys, and other items valued at $120,000 US. The donation made through the Taiwanese embassy from 2 non-profitable charitable foundations in Taiwan, namely the Simple Help Foundation and the Wo Chin Chai Foundation for Charity and Public Welfare. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, the ROC's ambassador to SVG, Calvin Ho, said it was his pleasure for him to hand over 736 boxes of items, which will be of benefit to the people of SVG. Ambassador Ho highlighted some of the items that were sent by the Simple Help Charitable Foundation.
But I didn't see women clothes here, but I see some shoes, fashion shoes, pillows, toys, soccer balls, lens wipes, ceramics, baskets, a lot of things. I think they are all very useful, and it's very useful to people. Sometimes I'm doing something, some work together with your government. I cannot see myself for how good, how meaningful we are doing. But to attend a ceremony like this, I can see it for myself. And this donation makes the total contribution to your good country over 2,000 boxes of various items.
Ambassador Ho said the 430 rolls of fabric received will be very useful for persons involved in making clothing and craft.
To me, it's very useful. It could be provide some skill training programs for people in need, and to that those not only I think disadvantaged women, but also for women, they wish to learn. As I mentioned to one of the government officials here, my grandma actually was a very good tailor before. So every time when I see clothes like this, I always remember my grandma. And so for those women here, when they receive the clothes, they can use their sewing skills to lift them.
Minister of National Mobilization Frederick Stevenson thanked the foundation for the donation. He said the 439 rolls of fabric can help Vincentians who have learned skills in tailoring and sewing.
And the previous ambassador, that I would hope to see that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we develop some small cooperatives in terms of manufacturing. Within our communities, we have persons who are seamstresses and so on, and tailors. And it's an important agent where we can offer a hand up to several individuals in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Again, the mandate of the ministry is to help you to gain a skill, so that we do not have to keep you on public assistance. But if you have a skill as a seamstress or a tailor, you can do wonders.
In other news, the police have arrested and charged Kimran Neverson, 24-year-old laborer of Redemption Shops, with the offense of murder. According to the investigation, the accused with malice aforethought caused the death of Edward Alexis, a 28-year-old farmer of Redemption Shops, by allegedly shooting him in his head with a gun. The incident occurred at Trigger Ridge Redemption Shops on March the 15th. Alexis' death marks the 6th murder recorded in St. Vincent and Grenadines for the year 2020. Neverson appeared before the Serious Offences Court for the arraignment and was remanded into custody at Her Majesty's Prison. The matter was adjourned for the 18th of the 6th, 2020. Meanwhile, the police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a shooting incident that occurred at the Villa Fountain Road on Wednesday, March 18th at around 7:45 p.m. According to investigations, a 22-year-old laborer of Fountain was shot in both his hands by an unknown assailant. He was reportedly rushed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, where he is currently nursing his injuries. Investigation into the matter is ongoing.